to the Let's Talk BS podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Sofia. And we're coming to you live from the
757.
Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon, Sofia. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Can't complain. It's good. It's good.
I can't hear myself.
You can't hear yourself?
No.
Oh, man, that ain't good.
I guess not.
I can hear myself loud and clear. Mic
Yeah.
check, mic check. Yeah, we good. We good. We good.
We'll get past it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You loud enough anyway. A lot of times I'm the one that need to speak up a little bit louder.
That's true.
So, you know,
That's true.
I think you'll be fine. So how's everything going for you today?
Everything is going pretty good. This morning I went to my initial chiropractic exam.
Okay.
Or I don't know, I think that's what it's called, where they do your x-rays and all that good stuff. So I was in there kind of nervous because I heard other people getting adjusted, and I was like, oh my God.
Is this your first time going to I guess you said it's exam, so I'm assuming it's your first time like ever going, or is this first time here?
Ever.
Okay.
Ever.
Okay.
First
What made
time.
you go? Like you having some
Just
back pain?
hearing, neck pain.
Neck
yes,
pain, okay.
But just hearing like a bunch of different people say like, "Oh my God, it's the best thing."
It is, yeah.
And so I think I've heard you
Yeah,
say
I've
stuff
said,
about you
yeah.
going, and then Cameron, which is our marketing director,
Yeah.
a couple of real estate agents that I know, even our partner Laura, like
Yeah.
everybody pretty much stands by it. So I was like, okay, I've been in this pain, let me just try it, see if it helps, because massages for me is not like something that I love. To me, they're painful. I like facials. Mm-hmm. And if I do get a massage, I don't like the deep tissue.
I was gonna say, so you're saying massages are painful. So I know that now the deep tissue, it could be
Every
very
time I walk
painful. But if
away
you just
from-
get like even if you just get like a regular massage with low pressure, it's still painful for you. Or
No, it's not as painful,
Yeah.
but it's
not
not pleasurable.
yeah,
It's not
yeah, 'cause
something
you-
where I'm like, oh my God, I need a massage.
I got you.
Like,
I got you. Because after when you get a massage, you're supposed to it's supposed to be relaxing and all that. So you're saying that you don't get that when
No,
you get a massage.
but when I get a
got you.
facial, I do.
Okay.
It's a different it's so good. I love
Gotcha.
facials, and then facials, because I'm colored. Look, I'm an African American woman. Most of the time, I got some type of extension in my hair.
Okay.
Besides today, look. But most of the time I do, and so with a facial, typically they do head massages, and I can't usually get that. And so what they do is instead of the head massage, they'll do neck and arms and hands.
Mm-hmm.
And so I opt for that, and I love it.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
good.
that's my
That's
favorite.
good. That's good. Yeah, chiropractor, man, is it's good, man. I remember I started going about 4 years ago. So Brooke, she was having some back pain when we had our first child, and so she started to go to the chiropractor, and then she would tell me about it. And I've always had playing sports, I've always had like neck pains, shoulder pains. It's even weird. Like even to this day it still happens, but not as much. Like I'll wake up in the middle of the night and my fingers will be numb.
They
like
asked me
nerve.
about that today too.
They
I was
did
like,
ask
no.
about that. Yeah. So I have a various things, but I've always, us men, I'll speak for the men on this one. We kind of just like we try to make no excuses. We try to, hey, keep going, let's keep going. So Brooke was adamant about me checking out the chiropractor. She's like, you may really have something, going on with yourself or whatever. And so I went, and they were like, yeah, man, your back is jacked up. They were like, yo, so, we're glad you're going now. And I've been going, consistently for the last 4 years. So I'm eager
What
to
made
hear.
her go?
After she had Niall.
But like, I understand that. Like, but what pushed her to go? Like, having the baby alone,
correct,
doesn't usually push you in that direction.
So they said it was something.
It like doctor recommended?
I think it was.
Friend?
I think it was doctor recommended, because I remember her sciatic nerve. I remember she was having issues with her sciatic nerve. And I think that they had mentioned something about a chiropractor. And it was funny because we had hit our out-of-pocket max for the year. People know about that when it comes to insurance. So everything that you do after that is free. Mm-hmm. So we were like, hey, we might as well go ahead and try whatever we could try, during that time or whatever. So I think a little bit of all of those is what
right elbow
caused.
hurt. Look at it.
Right. I think a little bit of all of those is what caused, it's like, hey, let's go check it out. And she went and she spoke glowingly of it. And so then, the day she invited me to go, and then I went. Like I said, I've been going consistent. I think I go more than her now, so.
I can't wait until my first adjustment, even though I'm scared to death. Doctors do
What are you
something
scared
different.
of?
Oh, I just...
Like how they be cracking and stuff like that? Like the noise and like...
Maybe. I don't know. It doesn't matter what's
I
happening.
mean, what do you like when you're scared of something? Like you're scared of something happening. Like, so I'm saying, like, what are you scared of? You're just scared of the unknown. Oh, doctors.
The unknown.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it'll be.
I feel like every time you go to the doctor, it's something bad. Like, I maybe that stems from both of my parents passing away and all that stuff. But I don't know. But I know every time I go to a doctor, I get nervous.
Like, I agree with you. Anxiety.
To the degree of like, I can walk in the doctor. You know how every time you go to the doctor's office and they check your vitals?
Yeah, yeah.
My blood pressure is always high when I go. And somehow they can tell that it's the nervousness. I don't know how they can tell. And then they'll redo it and I'm fine.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me before, man. It was a while ago. I think I'm better now. The last maybe 4 or 5 years, I haven't had any issues like that. But I'm like that as well. I do get anxiety going to the doctor. I'm always thinking that, and I guess it's just for me, I'm 36 now, and I've really I haven't had any health issues my whole life. So I guess, it's crazy. My mindset is always, positive. I'm always, half full. I always tell you and preach that. But for whatever reason, I'm always thinking like, yo, this may be the time they tell me something crazy, because I'm like, I have never had anything health with me. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I keep in relatively good shape. You know what I'm saying? I can be better. I'm definitely not as bad as I know some other folks or whatnot. So I think I'm relatively decently healthy. But I'm just like, man, this time they're going to tell me something crazy and I'm just going to just shock my world or whatever. So I can understand that.
And then doctor's offices isn't the worst. It's actually hospital visits that really like have me going.
Hospital visits, yeah. I can see that. I can see that.
I could walk in there with somebody else and be fine.
Yeah.
If it's you or if it's like someone other than myself, well, let's go. What you scared of? Like, get me in there. I'm like quiet don't know what to say.
You silly man.
But anyway, moving forward.
Okay. So how was last week? Last weekend or last week? What'd you do?
Let me see. Last weekend, me, Sundays, volleyball. It's like a dedication type of thing.
Yeah.
And then last weekend was
Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I watched all the way up until Rihanna performed, honestly, because I was tired. That weekend, I think I hit like this I don't know what was wrong with me. I just got exhausted. Okay. And so I went and laid down pretty much the whole weekend. I didn't really do anything except for, I got some work calls, but that was just like quick 5-minute call. Mm-hmm. I didn't really have to like do too much. So I just was exhausted. So when the day of the Super Bowl came, I didn't cook anything. We ordered out. I actually ordered Panera.
Panera? Hold on.
Yep.
Hold on.
I ordered Panera.
My football fan. I'm throwing a flag on the play. You said you ordered Panera for the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
What?
I wasn't feeling good, so they had to get on my train.
Oh man. Okay.
So I ordered some Panera, and then I watched the first half, and then I watched Rihanna's performance, which I think she did great. Yeah. I know there was a lot of people in the media saying that it was like the worst performance.
Yeah, people wildin', man. I think people just be wanting to talk. Like, honestly, I really feel I've been feeling this way for.
They want clicks. They want
clickbait.
Yeah.
Like I feel people say things to go against like popular belief just to start an argument. Yeah. Just like I really feel that there's. I mean, matter of fact, I'm almost certain that that's how people do. Because come on, man. Like what made that like? Now don't get me wrong. People who know Rihanna, she's not no dancing, entertaining type of person like that. So if for you expecting that, that to me, like that to me, you gotta expect like like she's never been that. So why would you all of a sudden think now after she just had a kid? You know what I mean? Obviously, we found out that she's pregnant again.
And
right?
then the fact that she was pregnant in the air like that, that fascinated me because. Yeah. When you're pregnant, I swear everyone thinks we're handicapped. Like you can't do anything. They don't want you to lift nothing. They don't want you running unless you've been running. They don't want you on roller coasters. They don't want you on nothing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she got the best doctors in the world. So I'm pretty sure it is. But
still.
No, you're right though. You're 100% right.
A risk.
You're 100% right.
And the fact that she was up there performing for all these fans, and.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think she did a dope.
Her like that was just ridiculous.
I think she did a dope job. Like I said, for me, I mean, she was up in the air, like the graphics, the animation, just like the dancing, like the people, like the music, like, she has hits. I knew she had hits, but I even was like, you know, they even did like just not her songs, but songs that she just like was featured on or whatever, which made it dope because she has a lot of great features. So I thought it was really, really cool. But again, like I said, I think people should be saying stuff just to be saying stuff, man. You know what I mean? So
now, what was funny was when we did find out that she was pregnant, right?
Yeah.
So I had one of my cousins call me. She was like, the fact that she's pregnant. She was like, if you look at her performance, all the little white people look like sperm.
Oh.
She looked like.
The red jump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I can see that.
Yo, what in the world?
That was her way of coming out as
that
being
was her
pregnant.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, she did a moment. She like kind of like, you know, put
she
her
rubbed her belly.
Yeah. So that was like, oh, because I remember, and it was funny because, you know, I was watching it Super Bowl, which to me, great Super Bowl. I was rooting for the Chiefs because the Eagles beat my Niners and the Chiefs won. Patty Mahomes, you know, legendary quarterback. They came back and won the game. The game went exactly how I thought. But great Super Bowl. And so for the Super Bowl for me, excuse me, my folks came over. So my mom and my dad came over. My mother-in-law came over as well. And so I was tasked with the cooking. So I made some ribs and made some wings as well. And then my mother, she brought some deviled eggs over. Then I think my dad brought some baked beans as well. Okay. So it was cool. We had some food, basically just barbecued, I guess you could say, in a sense.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
It sound like to me.
Yeah. So it was good. Everybody enjoyed the food.
You had a cookout.
Yeah. It was cookout. It was good. That's why I'm surprised you was like Panera. I'm like, whoa, like that's like against the Super Bowl rules. You know what I mean? So. But I understand you said you weren't feeling well. So.
Nah, I wasn't. Not at all. Not that weekend. I probably could have swung it if I had because I wanted to make wings and then I also wanted to make spinach artichoke dip.
Yeah. And matter of fact, let me mention too, Brooke made her chicken dip. It was really, really good.
What's
buffalo chicken dip?
I don't like buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah. It was really good. She didn't this time. She normally puts blue cheese in it. But she said this time she wanted to try it without the blue cheese, and it still was really good. But she said it. She likes it better with the blue cheese though. Yeah. But it's good.
Did y'all? I'm curious to know. Did y'all finish it? Like, cause that's the reason why I don't make cheese dip is because when it's just us,
never finish it.
It's always so much, and then the cleanup for the cheese dip is just
that's a lot. So to answer your question, no, we kept it in the crock, like you know, like you take the crock pot container out, and so we put it in the refrigerator. We actually heated it up and had it the next day. It was really good. Yeah. So I think we put a pretty decent dent in it the next day, but we still didn't finish it all.
Yeah.
It was really good though. Every time she makes it, I mean, we've had like neighbors where like, you know, we go to their pool or kickouts or whatever, like they request it. Like that's like one of her things, man. So it was really, really good. Super Bowl was dope. Like I said, I always liked the Super Bowl. My dad came over. We was able to sit there and talk and joke around. It was pretty cool. We had like a little surprise for him because his birthday was earlier that week. So we had a surprise little, like, you know, sung happy birthday to him, and he got kind of emotional. So it was pretty cool. You know what I mean? That's my guy, man. So it was pretty cool. Me and my son, we hooked him up with some nice gifts. So yeah, it was pretty cool, man. The weekend, on Saturday, I didn't do much at all. Now I had his game. So we went to his game. And he did really well in this game, but outside of that, I mean, it was just your normal, and we kind of got prepared. We got everything ready for the Super Bowl because we kind of knew that was going to be the center of the weekend. So yeah.
Then we rolled into Monday. Monday, I had a meeting. I went to this place called Park Lane in Kinsville. Yeah. Had a meeting.
That used to be it's crazy. So, and I'll let you jump in, my fault. But yeah, Park Lane.
You cut me off this week.
I did. I am. I'm in it, right?
Y'all see, last week he was on something. This week he.
Yeah. So Park Lane, because that area that she's talking about is the area I kind of grew up as far as like where my high school was at. So that used to be an old Ruby Tuesdays back in the day where Park Lane is now. So we used to kind of frequent that, you know, like on like game nights after the game or whatever. But go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Park Lane.
Yeah. So we went there. I'm getting ready to have a short-term rental home buying seminar. And so we kind of met there, had a meeting so we can kind of discuss the details of this particular home buying seminar that's coming up. So that was pretty cool. That day I still was kind of exhausted a little bit. So We also had that morning, I think, the forecast, the economic forecast
Yeah,
that I
was
did
really
not
good.
go to
That was
just
really
because
good.
I didn't want to come that morning, but I did go out and I attended that particular meeting. And then, we rolled right into Valentine's Day on Tuesday.
Yeah. So I'll touch real quick on the forecast.
Yeah.
Yeah, the forecast was really good, man. Barry Habib, man. He's very knowledgeable, man. He's been on all your, CNN, CNBC's. He's been everywhere, and he's normally been pretty spot on with his predictions as far as how the market is going, and how things. And what I liked about it is he explained it, like he dumbed it down, because we had like people that we invited to listen, because a lot of times, excuse me, the number one question I would say, there's two questions I get almost like every day. Correct. What are interest rates?
Yep.
And then the market? Yeah, and how's the market? Like that's literally, I get that question all the time, like more than asking me how I'm doing,
or how it's, or where's the direction?
Yeah, where's the market going? Yeah. So I get that question a lot. So this was pretty good. I invited some of my colleagues who asked those questions a lot, so they can kind of hear it straight from the source.
Yes.
And Barry was very eloquent in how he was explaining the process, and how he was explaining how inflation and how the numbers are, and basically what he said, just kind of summarizing, is that rates, they're going to be a little bit bumpy for the next month or two. And we've already started to see that. It's literally, he said that on Monday, and then the rest of last week, rates, we had an uptick in rates for the first time. And I think the last 5 or 6 weeks, they have been going down pretty steadily. And so that was the first week where they went up. So he mentioned that. But he did say that this spring, so around like April, May-ish time frame, you're going to see a noticeable decline in rates. As things start to progress, and as information starts to come out. So definitely looking forward to that. The spring buying season, is definitely the busiest time for us. That's when a lot of folks are looking to try to purchase homes, because, when they purchase, then they're not getting their kids moved out of school districts. If they're having to move out of a school district, they're not having to move them during the middle of the school year. So really looking forward to that. And I'm already seeing, on deals, like I'm helping my cousin right now. She's purchasing a house. She's over in Greece right now, and she'll be back here in April. And she put an offer on a house, and it had like 6 or 7 offers, and it was like a guaranteed situation above appraisal. So, that stuff is still going on. It's not, the norm, I would say, as it was during the pandemic, when it was just kind of, that's what it was. But on some properties that a lot of people are liking, that's what it is. So the market is definitely still hot. I know when interest rates get a little bit lower, I think that's going to bring even more people out here in the market. So,
correct. And then a lot of people who did lock and close at the end of last year, they're going to be getting ready to refinance. So
absolutely, yeah. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Valentine's Day was dope too. Typically we don't do very much, Brooke and I. Like, we don't do nothing like crazy. We'll just kind of maybe do dinner or do something nice at the house. With having young kids, man, a lot of times it's difficult to do anything. Like, really anything, right? So what we did this year, we was like, hey, the kids will be in school. Let's go and eat breakfast together, or brunch. So our favorite spot to be in the Biscuit.
I still haven't been there.
Yeah, been there still. You gotta check it out, man. It's really good.
I remember when Keith, y'all clowned me about
what happened?
About that restaurant.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah. The restaurant's good, man. It's my favorite breakfast spot around here. I like Bay Local a lot, and I like Tulu.
I went to Bay Local finally.
Yeah, I like Bay Local and Tulu. Those places are really, really nice too. But
Tulu,
being a Biscuit,
Tulu is in
the Marriott down the oceanfront. Yeah, it's pretty good. Every time we stay there, we always get breakfast there. So they're good. But being the Biscuit, man, they got it, man. We went there. We dropped the kids off at school. Our kids go to school at 8. Dropped them off at 8, and we went directly there. Got there like 8:30. It had an hour and a half wait.
So
we sat
That's how
out.
It was when we went to Bay Local. We sat there for probably about an hour. It was an hour and a half, but it was close to an hour.
We ended up being there. As far as the wait, it was like an hour. It was lower hours. Like, they said an hour and a half, so they came in like hour 15 minutes, I would say. But we sat outside. That day actually was pretty nice. It was a little chilly in the morning, but we sat outside and we had some mimosas while we were waiting, just talking.
Yeah, that's how Bay Local is. So they come and they give you like. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I got this. I'm not even a mimosa type of person, but they had this one that had like sherbet in it, and I did like a mango and a strawberry sherbet. And I'm not a big champagne person, so when I first tasted it, I was like, oh yeah, no. But then as the sherbet started to melt, it is actually
pretty good.
A drink I would actually have again.
Interesting.
Like
Okay. Cool.
It was actually pretty good. So
yeah, so
I was excited about that. But
so like I said, we obviously waited. Yeah, we waited. We ate breakfast. The breakfast was good. It's funny because every time I go to Be in a Biscuit, I always tell myself I'm gonna try something different, and I order the exact same thing.
No, because what happens is
I'm terrible about that.
You get there, you're hungry before you get there,
correct.
Right? And then you get there,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
And it's a whole hour and a half of wait, and so at that point you're just like, give me the regular.
Go what I know. Yeah.
I ain't trying nothing new.
Yeah,
just in case it's nasty. I can't wait another hour before y'all make me another plate.
Yeah, man, and that's exactly what it is. Cause like it's that, but it's just like I don't know. Like that's how I am. I know there's different people. How like I'm a person where if I know like if I'm planning to go out to eat somewhere, I like to look at the menu before I get there. So I'll sit there and kind of get my mind going. I may not make the final decision on what I want to eat, especially if it's maybe somewhere I haven't eaten before. But I'll look at the menu ahead of time, kind of get an idea of what I want. But specifically Being a Biscuit, I get the same thing as a steak and eggs every single time. And this time I was like, you know what? I'm going to switch it up. I told brother, I'm going to switch it up. We sat down. She got something different. And I was like, steak and eggs, and she started laughing at me. So I was like, "Yeah, man, I couldn't switch it up. That's just what it was, man." But
so you got steak and eggs?
Yeah, I got steak, and I get the same thing every single time, man. So
do they cut it up for you?
What, the steak?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they cut it up. Yeah, they cut it up for you. Yeah,
that's
they do.
why you get it.
Yeah, they do. What do you say?
That's why you get it. It's already cut up for you.
Man. I knew there was a joke in it. I knew you were trying to carry me. I thought you was talking about just like a preference or something. But you was like, okay, like I'm a little kid or something. Okay. Nah, but yeah, the food was good. That's kind of what we did, man. I hooked my, Brooke and I hooked my daughter up with some flowers, so they really appreciated those. Sloan, she was bragging about her flowers. I took a couple pictures of her, and then I FaceTimed my mother, and she was like, Grandma, look at my flowers. Look at my flowers. Look what Daddy got me. And she was hugging on the flowers all like that, and she put them near the window so they can get the proper sunlight and stuff, man. So she's a girly girl, man. She's funny, man. And her favorite color is pink, so I had to get her some pink roses,
flowers.
Man. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that was my Valentine's Day, man. That was pretty much it in a nutshell. We had the town hall that same day, I think it was. I missed the town hall.
We did. We got a lot of changes that are coming.
Yeah, I remember you
for
told me.
us. It was very. It was a lot in one meeting, just put it like that. But also, it's gonna benefit us in the long run. It's just that anytime there's a lot of change all at once, it can be a bit frustrating when you first hear the news.
Correct.
But I think everything will be fine.
Yeah.
We just got system changes, nothing like crazy, no layoffs or anything like that. But just when you get a new system after you pretty much learned a new system, it's kind of like, dang, I gotta do this again. And so.
Yeah, like I said, I remember when I first got into the mortgage business, my mentor at the time, Lisa, what she told me was the only thing that's constant in the mortgage business is change. That was it.
That is
and I was
so
like,
true.
What? When she said it, but that has lived to be the truth. Like,
that is the truth. 100%.
Yeah.
If things ain't changing in our industry, something ain't right.
Correct.
That might be the warning to get out.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that, man. So, So last week it was good, man. Like you said, it was pretty busy, pretty steady with for February. February is the shortest month of the year. Still shouting out Black History Month.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Still shooting that out. I remember you said I had mentioned to you my dad's birthday was the week before, so I know this week was your son's birthday, right?
It was.
Okay.
So Valentine's Day, we did roses. Well, the whole roses thing, candy. So all the girls got roses and balloons. Carter got balloons, and then that Wednesday was his birthday. Oh, we had Cutlass Grill for dinner, so we ordered out.
Favorite. Okay.
Yep, had that. And then that Wednesday, we didn't really want to do nothing crazy because the very next day is Carter's birthday.
Okay.
So
you almost had him on Valentine's Day. Then that'd have been dope to have him have a Valentine's Day baby. That'd be sweet.
Yeah,
cool.
No, I didn't. I didn't schedule.
You should have.
I could have had him on Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just scheduled it for the 15th. Just like my daughter, her birthday is on July 31st, the day after mine. I could have had her on my birthday. We could have shared.
Oh man, so two. Oh man, why you did you? So you
scheduled them both.
Scheduled. Nope. Okay, you wanted to have that to be different, I guess, or whatever. I understand. I mean, that's understandable. I understand.
Yeah.
That. Okay.
So, we did that on Valentine's Day. We all hung out, whatever, and then the next day, no, the day of Valentine's Day, I went and ordered Carter's balloons and his cake, and got his gifts. So then that way he could wake up to it in the morning.
That's what's up.
Tell me why I went to Party City and got him a 3-year-old balloon.
You said a 3-year-old balloon?
Yes,
What you mean?
a number 3.
Oh, the number 3?
And my son
he's
is turning 4.
4, right? Yeah, I was about to say, because he just, him and Niall are pretty close in age.
I guess I must have been super busy, and I was like, I walked in there.
You got home with them? You left home with the balloons and 3?
They were in my closet.
Oh,
hidden,
wow.
Everything. And I didn't even think, or it didn't even come to like realization that I had messed up until like I was telling my oldest daughter, I was like, yeah, I already got his candle. I got a candle that said number 3 on it. Thank
goodness, did a candle too?
Yes, candle too. Thank goodness I didn't put anything on the cake that said 3. But I was telling her, I was like, yeah, look, I got the candle. The balloons are hidden upstairs in one of the closets waiting for the morning time. And she looked at me with the straightest face. It was like, you know, he's turning 4, right?
Oh, so your daughter's the one that, like, turned the light bulb on for you?
I was like, oh, snap. So then I ended up having to go get a number 4 balloon, get a number 4 candle. It was like this whole thing. But anyways, we ended up, he ended up waking up that morning like Christmas. It was crazy. He woke up at like 4 or something in the morning, like, it's my birthday.
Oh, for real?
Yes. So then I was like, okay. So then I was like, go. I told him to go do something, go potty or something to give me enough time to get the balloons out of the closet. And so when by the time he walked back in the room, he saw the balloons. He was super excited because he loves Sonic the Hedgehog and he loves balloons, like specifically balloons.
Okay.
And so he went to school that day. When he got out of school, James picked him up. They went and got a haircut early, like around 12, 1 o'clock-ish, I want to say. So by the time they got back, we ended up taking him to go jump. And we went to this jump place. So we all jumped. I actually jumped, which I don't normally do. But my kids were like...
Talking about like trampoline park?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you said you jumped?
I did. And I don't normally do that stuff. I usually am the mom that sits off to the side like, yeah, baby, go ahead.
Okay.
So I got out there. My oldest daughter, she thought that I was an old lady and couldn't move. Yeah, I had to show her out, you know. And then
you ain't break no bones or nothing like that, right?
No.
Is that why you go to the chiropractor?
No.
Go to the chiropractor?
No.
Your back kind of shifted while you was on the triple E, man.
Nah. Nope, not this time.
Okay.
No, I'm just playing. But we left there, and then we went to eat. We actually ate at Olive Garden. My
one of my favorites.
Girls chose that restaurant. I'm not a fan of Olive Garden anymore.
I'm gonna say this. So Olive Garden, growing up, if you would have asked me when I was teenage, even in high school, what my favorite restaurant was,
really?
My parents would say Olive Garden. I had
Red Lobster
I would say
was mine.
Red Lobster was yours, yeah. So Red Lobster was where we went sometimes. We went to Red Lobster and Golden Corral after church. Yeah, so I felt like I ate that so much.
I just had Golden Corral as an adult.
I haven't had Golden Corral in so many.
I had it as an adult
probably 8 years
when I lived here. In VA. That's when I first had Golden Corral. Never even heard of it.
You never had it before?
No.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I remember.
Did y'all have like something like a buffet, like similar to like what Golden Corral is, like maybe y'all version of that?
Well, they had Golden Corral in Miami. It's just that you wasn't going to Golden Corral unless you lived like. You ain't going to Golden Corral on South Beach or in downtown or in Little Havana. Like those are the places I live. So
okay.
Yeah, you go to Golden Corral if you out there like in Hollywood, like in the like way out where it ain't.
Yeah.
You know, where you wouldn't visit if you came to Miami.
I got you. I got you.
So, and then growing up in Michigan, they had a Ponderosa.
I've heard of that before.
And they had Big Boy. That was another.
I feel like I've heard of it, but I never.
Yeah, it was like but that's more so like a breakfast buffet. Okay. So like I think they cut off or they closed early. They didn't offer dinner. Okay. Like how Golden Corral does. Yeah. Golden Corral is like
all day around. Yeah.
That's how Ponderosa was. Okay. And I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but that's.
I remember. Hey, look, all my folks. Did y'all ever? Yeah, you probably because you be butchering stuff. I don't know what's going on with some of your. With some of your enunciations, boy, you be like, what? Like, whatever. But nah, I will say, I remember growing up, we used to hit all the places at the church. There was a lot of buffets. We would go to Corral, we would do Red Lobster when it was like a celebration. Like, if it was like Father's Day, or if it was like somebody's birthday, or if it was just like, hey, my dad must have got paid. It was near the 1st and the 15th because he was military. We would go to Red Lobster. But outside of that, we would hit the buffets up. But I tell you, the one place that I used to like a lot, I want to ask you if you ever been here or heard of it, Piccadilly's.
I've never been to Piccadilly's, but there's one in Miami.
There's one in Miami? Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, Piccadilly's was my spot.
My daughter has been there a lot. Maya, she's been to Piccadilly's like every Sunday.
Piccadilly's, they used to have one in Norfolk, man. For all my folks here locally that's listening, y'all know Piccadilly's, man. Piccadilly's was the buffet joint. It was like a cafeteria style buffet.
Yeah, that's
so they would have like the plates of the food, man. And it felt like, Piccadilly's was different for
it was like, an upscale version of Golden.
Yeah, it was like somebody mama was back there making the food. It was a little different versus like Golden Corral. It was just like cafeteria, like you going to school type of thing. Like Piccadilly was like that. You remember how you in high school or middle school had that hot lunch line? Like it was like that was everything. Like it was good. We used to go to Piccadilly's every now and then. I remember they ended up shutting that joint down. It was always a very long line.
Yeah, I never ate there either. I mean, I think it's probably because I'm not a huge fan of buffet. Yeah. So like even when I was a kid, it's funny because you would see like unfortunately back then, this is what my eyes saw back then, so don't judge me now, but this is what my eyes saw. You would always see like the big people pants hanging off their butt crack showing, and then they don't wash their hands, and then they going in and scooping up. I saw that as a kid and it scarred me, so I was like, I don't want you breathing on my food. I want my own plate.
Yo, you know what's crazy? So last night, look, Brooke, and she gonna get me for saying this, her favorite show to watch on TV is 600 Pound Life. That is literally her favorite show to watch.
I was just watching an episode of that not long ago.
So I was watching it last night, and like she's so like, I don't know what it is about this show, but she just likes to see big people. But she likes to see them like, like overcome like their hunger, not hunger, but like their eating habits, and then like end up losing weight. And she likes Dr. Nowzard, obviously the doctor, the little short guy that comes in and how he talks and how he's like so matter of fact with the people or whatever. Like she just loves that. So yesterday, we had a whole bunch of errands just running around, so we finally got home and sat down and the kids was playing, so she wanted me to watch that with her. And I've watched it with her several times before, man. But it's just, So I remember seeing the guy was actually sitting there eating. I was like, I'm about to throw up my mouth. I'm like, oh my God. Like the dude was 700 pounds.
Yeah.
It was like
the
crazy.
one I saw not long ago, I don't know if it was a commercial or if it was like a short snippet. You know how Facebook, those shows would come up and it'll play like 12 minutes of the whole episode. Yeah. And this guy was eating like 2-3 pizzas in one sitting. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like I don't see how he's doing that. But
honestly, a lot of these people, man, they be food is their like remedy of like they have like some issues, like it'd be depression, it'd be like stuff that happened to them when they was a kid. And food is just like a comfort thing that makes them feel good and kind of like numbs them away from being away from whatever they're going through. So it's like, I'm not joking to people that's like that, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, it's crazy like to see somebody they're really that big. Like it's just, but I'm just kind of, I went left because of what you said as far as, buffet eating or whatnot, man. So, yeah.
All right. So then, let's see, we have an event coming up. So we actually launched it, I think it was Wednesday, right? Did we launch it? Did we start telling people about it on Wednesday? I think it was Wednesday.
Might have been. I can't remember.
It was Wednesday because we had a meeting.
Yeah. Well, I've been a little bit before that. Before. It was week before.
Okay, well, we have 40 people RSVP. So that's just like awesome. We're super excited about that. Yeah. I think it's going to be a great turnout. Yeah. Showing appreciation to a lot of the different agents that we work with. And then also invited like some of the ones that we would like to work with. So hopefully this event will build new connections and keep everlasting ones. So.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. It's margarita day, so it should be a good time, man. I don't normally drink margaritas, man, but I guess I'll be in the spirit. I'm gonna have me a marg, man. I'll have me a marg. So
I don't drink margaritas.
Yeah.
Tito's me, please.
Tito's me, please. Yeah.
All right, so I mean that's pretty much everything that we had going on for the week. I mean it was actually kind of busy last week. I mean, especially like at least for me, my son's birthday, Valentine's Day, that pretty much took up 2 days, and then the other 3 days was just kind of like us trying to get in where we fit in, pretty much. Just trying to, we still have active loans going on. We still have contracts. We still have new people reaching out for applications and kind of going over those, whether we approve them or deny them. So mixing in all the, regular life stuff with what we do every day. It was a jam-packed week, at least for me, last week.
Yeah, it definitely was, man. Like I said, this year's been starting off pretty busy, which I like. Busy's normally good, so I'm excited.
All right, guys, so now we're going to get into the Exercise Your Knowledge segment. So during this segment of the podcast, we ask you a mortgage-related question, and we want you to think about the answer of this question. Keep it at the back of your mind, because don't worry, we will give you the answer later on in the podcast. So today's Exercise Your Knowledge question is, if, I'm going to give you a little bit of information up front, then I'm going to ask the question. So if you just graduated from college and now you have started your new career job, how long are you required to wait before you can purchase a home?
That's a good question.
That's a good question, because we have, it's February. We got a bunch of college graduates getting ready to graduate here in the next few months. So, what can you do once I'm pretty sure you're applying to new jobs now. So then that way, upon graduation, you can go right into your field.
Sure, you even have some. I'm about to say, you even have some folks that, because some folks graduate, in the wintertime. Like my little sister, she graduated in December from college.
Overachievers.
Yeah, she did. She graduated early. Yeah, she graduated 3.5 years. So like they may now already just now started their career top of this year. So how soon can you purchase a home? It's a good question.
Yep. Very good question. All right, so guys, today's topic is going to be all things taxes, right? So now that we're at pretty much the beginning, or we're a little over the beginning of the tax season, there has been some things that have came up since we are in tax season that has affected our personal applications. So we thought, why not talk about it on the podcast?
Yeah.
Because those are things that are very important when you're purchasing a property.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, taxes
and
are...
the biggest one is delinquent taxes.
Yeah, that one is definitely one that we start, where I've seen, I would say, recently a lot more than before. Obviously, with the pandemic, I think a lot of that stuff, things, folks, they're not working, and just kind of things being processed a little bit differently, and, a little delayed or whatnot. So, delinquent taxes is something that I've seen a lot of. Yes. What we want to do is, like Sophia just mentioned, we want to kind of just bring it up, being that we're in tax season, right in the middle of it now. There's some things that we've seen recently that we feel that, hey, if we have conversations about it, it could better help folks that are out there getting their taxes done, or folks that are looking to purchase houses in the near future who are self-employed, right? Because that's typically when you're buying a house, the folks that we need to see their taxes are most of the time is folks that are self-employed, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so folks that are self-employed are folks that have multiple properties already, where they have their properties on their tax returns. We have to take a look and see kind of how that stuff is looking. So,
or your 1099 employees, or people who own their own businesses. Yeah,
contract employees. Yeah, all those. Yeah, all those folks. Anybody who's not necessarily an employee of a company that doesn't receive a W-2, we typically got to see those tax returns to make sure we have your income, and what you're telling Uncle Sam is what you're telling us.
Yes, exactly. So I think we actually talked about this at one point before. So when you're self-employed, typically the lender is going to be looking for a 2-year history. Well, whenever, doesn't matter if you're self-employed or if you're employed by an employer, we're going to look for a 2-year history, right?
Correct.
But the way to identify self-employed 2 years history is us looking at your tax returns.
Yeah.
So it's the income that you report to the IRS. So let's break that down, right? So you're self-employed, you get back your 1099 at the end of the year,
Yep.
or you report your income at the end of the year and your gross sales is 500,000. Okay. I think that's a good number to start with, right?
Yeah.
So
You sure not 300,000? You sure?
Yeah, we're not buying a house.
Okay.
This is
All
income.
right. Okay. Just checking.
So your gross sales, your company had, they've sold 500,000, right? But then your company has employees, it has expenses. Even if it doesn't have employees, it still has expenses. It has all these different things that you can write off. And let's say you decide that you want to write off $450,000 of that income. Okay, as a self-employed person, that actually benefits you to write off those expenses because that's less taxes that you pay, because you're only going to be paying the taxes on the difference, which is
on that net income.
Yep. And that's considered your net income, right? But when you are looking to make purchases, right, this is when it can hurt you, because if you have debts, then we're looking at your net income, and that net income divided over 12 months is then divided over the debts that you pay monthly. And so you always want to make sure that as a self-employed borrower that you're preparing for a new purchase, something especially as big as a home, because that's something that we're going to verify. We're going to verify what you report to the IRS for the past 2 years, and we're going to take an average of that income. So self-employed income, especially when it comes to reporting the income correctly, you just want to make sure that you put the right information in there. Get with your CPA, get with your tax advisor, let them know ahead of time what your goals are for the next upcoming year or so then that way you know how to report your taxes. Now, with you being self-employed all year long, you probably haven't paid taxes on any of your income. So then at the end of the year, typically you owe taxes, right? Because you haven't paid on anything. Now, how does that affect you with the mortgage? You want to take that?
Yeah. So I want to kind of harp back on what Sophia said there, because I can't tell you how many times where we have a buyer come to us and we get their tax returns and it shows it's not a true indication of what that person is actually making, right? And so obviously I understand, writing a lot of things off to avoid paying taxes, but at the end of the day, when it comes to buying a home, we can only use the income that you're telling Uncle Sam that you're paying taxes on to qualify you, right? So, a lot of times folks are showing negative income. So even from that example that you mentioned, Sophia, that at least is showing positive income, right?
That's true.
Right. But a lot of times, I would say even more times than not, I get folks that are turning tax returns into me that say, hey, they have all this money, they make all this money, but their tax return is showing that they've made negative income for that year. And so I
had someone, it was funny, I had a lady call me and she was like, I write everything off.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, man.
Like, it was her first, besides, a greeting, like, hey, how are you? My name is so-and-so. She said her name,
Yeah.
First thing, I write everything off. I was like, well, honey, you ain't buying a house today.
Yeah, you can write that house off too then, because that ain't happening.
That ain't happening.
Yeah, man. But nah, seriously though, that's something that I want to make sure, because, and that's why I stress, and I got one of my best friends, man, he's a CPA, he's an accountant, and there's ways to illustrate, writing things off and still have positive income shown if you'd be able to purchase a house.
Correct.
One practice I do, I'm not an accountant, but obviously if you're self-employed, as you're earning income throughout the year, you want to put money away for taxes. This is just a good practice. Like, I think that, any person would tell you, like, hey, put a couple dollars away as you make money, because that's one of the luxuries as a self-employed person, is the responsibility is on you, right? Versus
Correct.
someone who works for a company, the tax is already taken out for them, so they don't get to, remove that from their income themselves. That's already something that the employer does for them, right? So, just be mindful of that. That's something I just wanted to make sure that folks do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you also had to talk about, what was it? I forget. Never
What were you
mind.
about to say? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You did ask me a question. What was the question?
I forgot now. Look.
I got down that rabbit hole of taxes. Because I see it all the time, man. No, I'm serious. Like, it's people who I like really, really want to help buy a house, and it's like everything else is great. Credit's good. Everything's good. And it's like they show negative $40,000. And I'm like, yo, if your business really was negative $40,000, you wouldn't be wanting to try to buy a house right now. You'd be trying to figure out how to make stuff work. Like, so come on, let's really get a true indication or illustration of how your taxes are, what your income truly is for the year.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. But I know one thing you had asked me. I mean, I'll jump in on this one. Like I said, I don't know if this is what you asked me right before I kind of went down that rabbit hole. But you did. We did kind of talk about delinquent taxes, right?
Yes.
So delinquent taxes. When you're buying a house, you have to be.
Yes, that's what I asked you. How does that talk about how that works?
Yeah. So when you're buying a house, delinquent taxes, right? You have to be on a payment arrangement with those delinquent taxes. So there's really two different ways you can handle delinquent taxes. Once you file your taxes and your accountant or the tax preparer, whoever is helping you with your taxes, tell you, hey, you owe X amount of dollars, you want to do one or two things. You want to go ahead and either pay those taxes. So if you have the ability to go ahead and pay those, that's obviously the first option. The second option is get on an approved payment arrangement with the IRS, right? And so, because when it comes to buying a house, what happens is if you're, delinquent with your taxes, that puts the mortgage company at risk because the IRS could put a lien against your home, right? So we want to make sure that you're all good with Uncle Sam, and the way that is
the liens take priority. IRS tax liens take priority over
mortgage.
The mortgage company. So that's why it's a risk. So let's say when you get ready to sell the house, the IRS is going to get their money off top, then the mortgage company.
Exactly.
So the mortgage lender doesn't want to be at risk in that capacity. So what they'll do is they'll make sure that you set yourself up on a payment plan, and they actually want to see that you have been making on-time payments as well.
Exactly.
So the payment plan alone means nothing if you're not making the payments.
Exactly. Yeah. So we typically want to see, depending on the loan type, some loan types, it's just one payment that you've made so far, especially if you're within that same tax year where you've just established that payment arrangement. We want to see that you've made that one payment to get started on that arrangement. If it's a previous year where you've, if it's the year before or 2 years before that, we want to see that you've made 3 on-time payments and that you're currently making on-time payments with that arrangement as well. So, that's something that's very critical. I can't tell you how many times that, I've helped someone or tried to help someone buy a house, and we find out, a little bit later in the game that they owe taxes from a previous year, and then that, then delays the timeline of when we could actually help them purchase a house, right? Yeah. So they have maybe a previous year. When we get those tax transcripts back, they're going to tell us exactly what's going on, right? Because sometimes the tax returns, you've maybe amended them, or we may not have the most up-to-date information for you. So the tax transcripts are coming straight from the IRS, and they're going to let us know exactly what your status is with those previous taxes and also the current year if you've actually filed in those current years. So I can't tell you too much or tell you too many times. Like, you got to go ahead and secure whatever your taxes are. So pay them if you can. If not, please get on a payment arrangement and make sure that you're making good on those payments.
And from my understanding, I mean, knock on wood, I have never owed taxes in that capacity just yet. But from what I do know, they charge you interest on what you owe.
Oh, right? Of course, yeah.
So even if you're on a payment plan, you're getting charged interest, and from my understanding, it's a lot higher than your average interest rate. So
yeah, it is. So I can't say just me as an entrepreneur. I think most entrepreneurs out there could speak for this. I mean, I would say that at least the last 6 years I've owed taxes every single year. Yeah. Now some years I've been able to befriend a pretty good accountant who's able to help navigate some things where I owe a lot less now than what I used to owe. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's something that's almost inevitable, especially if you're got your hands in a lot of different things. So
yeah. See, for me, I do have a business, but we've just navigated it to where I haven't been in that situation just yet. Yeah. I mean, God willing. Yeah. As you expand and grow, I mean, it happens. It's just gonna happen. So, but yeah. So, I know that also within your tax return, another thing that we definitely look at is depreciation.
Yes.
And we take a look at your Schedule E, and so those are some things that can potentially help with adding income.
Yeah.
And then the other one, like your Schedule E, that actually lets the lender know specifically like what you're reporting as income if you have rental properties. So
Correct.
We get this all the time. We have people who, you know, maybe owned a house in the past. They no longer live there, but now they're renting the property out. And I've had it to where, you know, they don't even report the full 365 days, or they don't report all of the income received. And then, you know, when they want to buy a house and they're trying to offset that mortgage, saying, well, I have a lease agreement. Well, on your tax return, if you're not reporting the income, we have to use what's on your tax return to offset that mortgage payment. So it's always important to be as truthful as you can with your tax returns, especially when you know you're ready to purchase a home in the next upcoming years.
Absolutely.
As a self-employed borrower, it's very important. You have to prepare. If I can't say this enough, self-employed borrowers, prepare for your purchase.
Correct.
You can't wake up one day and unless you're reporting everything like in a manner of where income is in the positive, you can't wake up one day and say, "Oh, I want to buy a house." It just doesn't. It doesn't fit your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
I mean,
right?
unless, like you said,
unless you have a positive net income consistently, and you don't really have to worry about that, and you pay your taxes on time, you don't, you know, have any delinquencies, then you're good. You're the ideal borrower.
Correct.
But unfortunately, that's not always the case.
Correct. And a couple things I wanted to mention too, because these are questions that I get pretty frequently. Now, I think we mentioned it in one of the previous episodes. So we look at things in a 2-year window, mm-hmm. right? So for most of the people who are buying houses that are self-employed, we're going to want to see the last 2 years of completed tax returns, mm-hmm. and we're going to average the income. So that's how we come up with your income. We average from 1 year to the next. So a lot of times, you know, we're helping someone whose business has just started, you know, there's typically more growth from that first second. That's normally that big jump that you make once you kind of get things started and everything like that. So that's why we take a look at things in a 2-year window, because we want to make sure that, hey, if we're giving you a 30-year loan, that, you know, that the business is sustainable, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why we can't just base things, you know, on just, hey, your profit and loss, or you just started this business and now you got a couple of checks. So no, that's different. When you're self-employed, you know, that's a whole different ball game versus being an employee for a company that's been established, right? Mm-hmm. So I want to make sure that you know that. Now, there is some exceptions to that. Now, if you're like, I'll use an example as a mechanic. If you've been working as a mechanic and you've been an employee at a company, and you say, hey, you know, I want to step out there and do my own thing as a mechanic, and then you do 1 year, and we could see that, hey, you transition from being an employee as doing the same thing, and then now become your own business owner and do the same thing, and we could see that the income hasn't dropped, maybe it's jumped, maybe you've seen that there was an opportunity to make more money, mm-hmm. Then we could potentially help you, and you can use just that 1 year tax return as long as there's been a history of you being in that same industry and you doing that same job.
Yeah, I just had someone reach out to me last night about this same situation.
Yeah, so I want to make sure that you guys know that, because I know that's something that, you know, even like
truck drivers, a
beautician, someone who does hair at a company and then just steps on and does their own thing. Mm-hmm. So that's something I really want to make sure that you understand. And like Sophia mentioned as well, that depreciation thing is huge, because a lot of times, you know, we can add back depreciation, and that's something that, you know, happens in the business. Like your business will go through a period of time where, you know, there is depreciation in the business, and so therefore whatever is being depreciated can be added back. So also taxes and things like that could potentially be added back as well. So there's different ways.
And you were also talking about personally how the benefit of like an S corp versus being self-employed. So for me personally, I hold an LLC. I don't have an S corp, but I do know that potentially you could have tax benefits for the S corp.
Correct. Yeah. So all it is, you know, if you have a business, right? Now, you can file taxes for that business and run it as an S corp, and then what happens is you're going to pay taxes. They'll run it back through on your personal return, mm-hmm. and so you'll pay taxes at a much lower tax rate if it's ran through an S corp. Now, obviously, I'm not an accountant, so I'm not giving you advice
or CPA.
Now, or CPA, anything. So speak to your tax advisor, and they'll be able to instruct you on what's right for your situation. But for me personally, you know, I was able to benefit from not having to pay that self-employment tax. That self-employment tax is over like 30-something%. And I think when you run the taxes through your S corp, it's like half of that, or maybe a little more than half of that, but it's still considerably less than that 30 some odd % that you're paying as a through the self-employment tax. So it makes a lot more sense to have your taxes set up and your business structured that way. So.
And honestly, guys, I mean, obviously Bryan doesn't. He's not a tax advisor, but sometimes knowing a little bit of this information actually benefits you, because then you know to go to your tax advisor and what questions to potentially ask. Because you can sometimes go and sit in front of your tax advisor and they can give you information, but if you don't know what questions to ask, I mean, it's kind of like, how could they help you? How could they help benefit you when they think that you know as little as possible and you're trying to get, just a little small thing done?
Yeah, I just ask questions, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm a person, I'll YouTube stuff. I ask questions.
Correct.
I mean, I trust
but
the people.
But there had to be something that sparked, your interest in an S corp versus the LLC to then research it, to then ask your tax advisor. Correct. So I think that the information that you just gave was just kind of like that spark. So now someone could listen to this podcast and potentially be like, oh, okay, so there is a tax difference. Well, let me Google that. Okay, well, once they find out a little bit of information, they can go then and speak to their CPA.
Correct.
And that person can give them the best advice moving forward with their particular scenarios.
That's correct.
Yes.
That's correct.
But, again, all things taxes, just make sure that if, you owe, or if you have delinquent taxes, because I actually have a situation right now where I have someone who owed delinquent taxes in year 2020 and 2021, in which she was on a payment plan, but then she needed to file her 2022 tax return in order to qualify for the mortgage, because she wrote off so much stuff in 2020. And with this particular situation, now she owes for 2022 in taxes. And so she had to set up a new payment plan and make her initial payment. And just the waiting period of getting all these things done and in order, it's affecting the mortgage close date. So with us being in tax season, it's just important information to have and to know and to kind of get things combed out before things get started.
Correct. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. Very true. I can't harp that on enough. Like I said, I can't tell you how many times, because, a lot of times when you're buying a house, timing is everything, right? So you find that house you love, you get, let's say you get on a contract, that timer is going off right then there. You have a contract that says, hey, things have to be completed in a certain amount of time. And, I can't tell you how many times I've unfortunately had a self-employed person where their taxes in some form or fashion has derailed the situation. Sometimes sometimes I try to make sure that we don't get to that point, obviously with checks, but sometimes it's impossible for me to know until we've actually gone through a full application with them, as far as getting their tax transcript, seeing what previous years did. Because once you turn your tax return into me, it doesn't tell me if you paid or did not pay your taxes. That's right. True. So sometimes we have to wait once we get that information back from a third party, and that's when we find it out.
Yep.
So I'll try to ask those questions.
Tell us the truth.
Yeah, I was gonna say I ask questions sometimes. Hey, do you owe any tax? Are you paying your tax payments? No. And they'll tell us no, but then we'll find out that they are. And then it's like, hey,
we always find out.
Yeah, we do. We find out. We find out, man. So it's just like, it's one of the situations where, like, it puts us in a bad spot, man, and it really could put you in a situation where you don't get the home that you were looking for, that you had hoped for. So
yes. Yeah. All right, guys. So I hope that was very informational. If you're self-employed, utilize that information. So earlier in the segment, we asked the exercise your knowledge question. And if you are just now tuning in, the exercise your knowledge question that we asked is mortgage related. And we asked the question so we can see or gauge your knowledge, right? So I'll go ahead and re-ask the question, but just let's see if your answer was along the lines of what the actual answer is. So today's exercise your knowledge question was, if you have just graduated from college and now you're getting ready to start your new career, how long are you required to wait before you can purchase a new home? Drum roll?
Drum roll, let's do it. All right, so the answer is we can count we can count your school history as a part of your income history, basically, right? Mm-hmm. So there's really no waiting time. So I've helped doctors who's been in school for 8-9 straight years and have no work history within that last 2-year window, but they received an offer from a hospital that they're going to start working at, or they just started working at, and we're able to help them buy a home immediately, right? Yes. So we just want to see that there is some type of work or education history within the last 2 years that can be documented and that it makes sense, right? Yes. We're not going to penalize you for being in school to help you and position you better in your career, right? Yeah. So that's not going to be a situation where we're going to say, hey, you have to be working for a year or 2 years or 6 months, just for that to happen. Like, no, if you have a history of being in school, then we're okay with that. Now, obviously, there's some people that are in situations where there's like, let's say you were in school and then you got out and then you didn't work for a long period of time. Then we're going to want to see that you've reestablished yourself back into the work field, right? Yes. Or even if it's a situation where, let's say you're a homemaker and or a home mother, and then you've obviously had children, you stopped working, and then now you're going back to work. We're going to want to see that you've reestablished yourself back into the work environment, right? But if there's a track record or a history of you consistently being in school and you're literally just graduating and then working, then we're not going to have any type of probation period or time to wait for you to go ahead and buy your home.
Yes. And this also applies to, let's say you weren't in college. Let's say you went and got some type of certificate. So let's say you were working a job and you were like, you know what, I want to do a career change. I want to work in cybersecurity. And you go to school and you get the certificate that they offer for cybersecurity. You pass, you're good, and then now you go right into that type of job. I mean, that makes sense too.
Absolutely.
So we're just ultimately looking for job correlation. Like, how does your schooling benefit your current job?
Correct.
Yeah. We may even go as far as asking, for a little letter of explanation showing like what that looks like to kind of paint the picture. But definitely there's no true waiting period. We just need a 2-year history with limited to no gaps.
Correct.
Yep. All right, what's coming up? Well, we got...
So we mentioned that event we got, right?
Yes, we got the event coming up.
Yeah.
You have the home buying seminar.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I got a home buying seminar. Cool. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be this weekend. So they got me working on Saturdays, man. Luckily, my son's game is so early in the morning that I won't have to miss his basketball game, and I can just shoot over, here at the office, and I'll be able to go ahead and prepare for the home buying seminar. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm going to check out Ant-Man. Because I've been trying to go since it came out on the Thursday night. Okay. I wanted to go, but then I had like practice. It was just a whole bunch of... No, it wasn't practice. My daughter had band SOL. So my daughter plays... she no longer... I found out she no longer plays the trumpet. It's called a flugelhorn. It's like a...
Never heard that before.
It's like a... She said that it's a trumpet and a French horn
combined or something. Okay,
that's what she plays.
Interesting. Okay,
but it's the same motion or keys. I don't speak that language, so I really don't know. But she said it's the same as a flute, so there's no like huge difference in how you play it. So that's how she's able to play it, and she's the only one who plays it in her band. I don't even know how to.
Okay.
I didn't play.
Not choir, but orchestra
band.
or something.
No, orchestra is orchestra, band is band, choir is choir.
Okay.
But I don't know what, like, I don't know like how you refer to them.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I got you.
In her band, right?
Yeah.
She's the only one in her band. That makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. It do. Makes sense to me too.
So she So she had SOLs that night, and then after that, me and her and one of the other girls' moms and her daughter, we actually got together and had dinner together because we were there late that night. And she had to stay and watch the high school folks perform theirs. It was just like this whole thing. So we were there pretty late, and me and Maya didn't have dinner, and the other two were with Dad, and he fed them, bathed them. They were in bed by the time we got home. So that was pretty cool. Let me see what else. I'm gonna check out Ant-Man, and then this weekend is actually the last. It's my final game in volleyball. And then Monday night we'll find out if we make the playoffs.
Okay.
And if we do, the next weekend will be the finals.
Okay.
And we'll be done with that team. So no more going to the oceanfront for volleyball.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, good luck. Good luck with that for sure. Good luck, man. My weekend is pretty, like I said, other than the home buying seminar on Saturday, that's pretty much really all I have planned. I'm just going to relax pretty much this weekend. Last couple weekends I've had different things.
Yeah.
Super Bowl, went out to the comedy show and all that. So this weekend just kind of relaxing and chilling and, just getting prepared for the next work week. Kind of spend some time with the family. Probably do something. I think the weather's supposed to be pretty decent this weekend, so probably go do something. Kick it. Go outside somewhere. So
we got that a virtual award ceremony, but it just so happens to be on the same day of our event in Town Center. So we won't attend that, but hopefully there'll be some awards soon to come.
Yeah.
So
that'd be dope.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Last year I got an award. I was very shocked.
Yeah, I remember that. I was
so shocked.
Yeah, I remember I knew. I was trying not to say anything to you. I wanted to tell you, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna make sure that you get the surprise element of it because they had asked me some questions because you were rather new to the company at the time, so they had asked me some questions that they wanted to ask you, but they didn't know how to ask you because they felt if they asked you, then you would kind of know something was up.
Oh, and I'm good at that.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't. If you want to truly surprise me, you have to say nothing, because saying something is something for
saying
me.
something is something.
Yes, you have to go silent. You can't do anything that is different than what you've done before, because I'm gonna know. I don't know how I know. I don't know if it's women's intuition, but I know all the time.
Yeah, I hear you.
So,
yeah. So that's why I said
they did.
Yeah. So I didn't say nothing. I knew obviously, a little bit about you. Obviously, we've been friends for the last couple of years, man. So it's like I was like, all right, I gave them some information so they knew what to say, when announcing you. So
yeah, that was actually pretty cool. I was very shocked, I must say.
Yeah.
So every podcast we always like to end with a quote of the day to keep you positive for the rest of the week. So today's quote is...
You want to go with it? You go ahead.
All right. So you don't have to see the full staircase to take the first step.
There we go. Step out on faith. There we go.
Step out on faith.
Yeah, definitely do it, man. I know sometimes we want to know what everything is before we make that first jump or that first step, but a lot of times you're not gonna know that. No. So you gotta take that first step, and as you take them steps, that's when you start figuring it out, and that's when you start understanding exactly what's going on. But as long as you got faith in what you're doing and what you believe, man, there's no situation and there's no outcome that won't be good. So you gotta take that first step though. Can't always look down the stairs and just look at it. Gotta go. Gotta take that step. Gotta
step forward. Yeah. Well, that's all the time that we have for you guys today. Please follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Mine is SKB_mortgage.
Yep, and mine is Bryan_Royster. That's BRYN_Royster, ROYSTER.
Did you change it up? They both match now?
Yeah, they both match, man. They both match.
Finally, listen, it only took 5 episodes to get there.
Okay. All right now.
Well, thank you for listening to our podcast, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.